certainly from a data analytics point of view, what's happening in the AI space is fascinating. You know, we all talk about big data and data mining and those sorts of things, yet we're reliant on people looking at that data to make informed decisions, identify patterns, identify trends, to convert it to actionable intel. So for me, in the AI space, being able to remove, with respect, as much of the human eyes as we possibly can, and then migrate that to a smart computer that's constantly learning and adapting, there's some huge strides being made in that field. And I believe that is where we're struggling as an industry. We've got all this data, we're just not doing anything with it in a reliable way. So to me, that's where a lot of the investment I see coming forward, bringing tangible benefits. So, and then there's obviously the products, the interconnectivity of mining equipment to the cloud or whatever the infrastructure is. But breaking this reliance, I believe, on big, heavy fixed infrastructure investment in terms of the network, that to me is, along with the AI processing that I was talking about, that's the next wave. I believe that having mobile, nimble, adaptable, transportable equipment and networks, that's the exciting piece. And I think we're at that precipice now where we're getting comfortable enough with the technology and the reliability of that technology to be able to deliver that to the marketplace. So really, really exciting times. I'm very, very pumped to see some of the advances in the networking space around here. So certainly I believe that's the next wave. Collaboration, proper collaboration between specialists in their field, right? So as an OEM, we manufacture products, okay? We make our products as good as they can be. Do we want to be a digital powerhouse as well to compete with the likes of Microsoft or Google or whoever? I don't think so. So having the maturity to say, hey, look, this is where we're strong and this is what we're willing to contribute, and then collaborating properly with other similar like-minded companies to develop a solution is where I believe the true value lies. Our biggest challenge right now is the phrase intellectual property. As soon as that phrase is uttered, innovation dies, the conversation is shut, and we're back to doing our own thing in isolation. It's probably the single biggest challenge because everybody wants a return on their investment, and rightly so. But if we're going to be providing, tangible, let's call it next step or step change to the industry, we've got to find a way to get around or break through these intellectual property discussions and recognize companies and technologies and people that add value and aren't necessarily a threat, And I suppose we had a conversation internally and with some of our customers around this exact topic. And it's actually quite difficult because there's some amazing things going on behind the scenes that if we could just break down that barrier, and share a little bit of that, I think the benefits of that proper collaboration would be enormous. But I think our biggest challenge is getting over that IP barrier, there's no simple solution. And I don't believe that there will be one single provider or one single solution to what we're trying to achieve in the Internet of Things. We are all going to bring our specialties. It's how do we get them all aligned and all combined to derive the best value for the end user. And to me, that's our biggest single challenge. And if we don't do that, we're going to be sitting here in 5 years' time having this exact discussion again and again and again until somebody either steps up and takes that brave position, or we just go along our own merry ways and, with, let's say, mixed success, if any. The KISS principle, keeping it simple. We're very, very good as OEMs of unleashing our engineers. Here's a problem. We want you to design a solution, and we don't even have to tell them that. They'll just go and design something, and it'll be the most innovative and well thought out and featured product or service or whatever that you could possibly think of. But no one's actually stopped and thought, well, okay, one, does the market want that? Secondly, can people use it? And third, and most importantly, can you maintain it? So what we're trying to do is remove the complexity out of our product lines. And by that I mean, creating innovations such as plug-and-play drive systems. That's in our next wave of mining equipment. Removing the need to have, say, highly specialised trades on these sites to work on equipment. So by removing that complexity out of, say, an uncontrolled environment with respect to our miners. You're outdoors, you're exposed to all sorts of elements, and bringing it back to a controlled environment like a laboratory. A laboratory is probably an exaggeration, but a workshop. I believe that you remove the instance of risk, and therefore you effectively make your operation and the equipment safer. So I believe from our perspective, safety comes from simplicity, removing risk, and engineering out problems that people try and solve locally. So why don't we remove it? I mean, it's the triangle or the pyramid of risk management. The first is elimination, get rid of the risk indeed. And I think we're slightly making inroads there, working with that. And again, it comes back to that collaboration piece. You look at a specification for a piece of equipment from a mine site or a contractor, and there's all these things bolted onto it to eliminate risks that were there 10, 15, 20 years ago that aren't necessarily longer present, And so you bolt these things onto a machine, you introduce all this uncontrolled risk and complexity. And I think that if we can have a rational conversation as to, well, why do you actually want X, Y, or Z on your piece of equipment, we then sort of boil down to it's a nice to have, and people sort of sit there and think, well, actually we've always done it this way, and actually we've never really liked it because it's been unreliable or cost us a bucket of money. So it's about understanding the core driver of why, and so for us it's about keeping things simple. The moment we bring a machine over here and have to go and bolt unnecessary things to it it's really, really painful and introduces a whole lot of risk. To be quite frank, I'm not really seeing anything in the immediate future that's going to disrupt. I think the biggest disruption really for the industry is going to be availability of materials. I mean, we're seeing this huge uptick in demand, and it's challenging for us as a traditional equipment provider to sort of cope with this demand that has just come seemingly out of nowhere so quickly. So I really don't have an answer for that first question in regards to, or in relation to, should I say, the disrupting technology. Certainly every day brings something new. So I'm really excited to see what 2018 and 19 and beyond bring. I just really can't pinpoint what specifically. Who knows? The Google guys and the Apple guys and all the autonomous car makers may come up with something that we could adapt, but certainly I'm not necessarily seeing it in the market space. I mean, we've got our product lines, and I'm not going to use this as a sales pitch, but certainly nothing disruptive. I'm sorry. What do we really enjoy? I think it's the level of conversation. Having some very, very intelligent conversations that challenge what we consider to be the way forward. So you meet a whole bunch of people with a really good grasp on the industry, and they really challenge you. They challenge some of your assumptions, what you think you know. So having those conversations over the last, what's it been, 8 hours now, has been actually quite eye-opening. And some of the presentations that we've gone to, I really, really enjoyed that planetary resources. I thought that really sort of blew my mind in terms of why we're doing it, or why planetary resources are aiming to do what they do. And you sort of sit there and you think about some of the challenges that they're facing and managing to solve, and you're sitting there going, these guys are doing this with a 10-minute lag, and we're struggling with something that's literally 50, 60, 100 metres away from us. So it really sort of challenges our own ability or understanding of our ability. So having those conversations with some very, very intelligent people in this conference, let's not kid ourselves, there are some high caliber people here, only serves to sort of help us in our definition of where we want to take our company, take our products, take our services to meet the market. So, it's certainly challenged a couple of our underlying assumptions of what we think the market wants. So certainly taking that away from this, and then being able to adapt that and sort of review your strategy, alter your strategy in line with what we're hearing, is probably the biggest benefit that we're certainly seeing. And I mean, it's just fascinating to have so many like-minded and intelligent individuals in one place. It's phenomenal. I mean, this is my first IMARC. I mean, we've sort of done it with a bit of a bang, and it's just been phenomenal, the response and just the conversations. It's just been amazing.